threat of disaster is never pleasant.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers podcast.
These safety measures are essential.
The only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment.
This will be your source of survival instructions and information. Every member of the family must be coached in the business of survival.
Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Oh, yeah. Who you texting, Cam?
The podcast. Add some last notes. No,
Well,
I don't know who.
here we are. World still standing. They about took over the Capitol yesterday.
Yeah, we almost.
We'll talk about it later.
North Carolina.
What?
Or South Carolina. Sorry about that.
I don't know what we're talking about now. We went another place.
Secession.
I get you. Cameron, we're excited to be here today because we have a fun topic.
We do have a fun
What are
topic.
we talking about?
Bushcraft.
Whoa, hey.
Right to it.
This is a family podcast.
Pretty sweet skill.
Yeah.
That you can't learn on YouTube,
You can.
but you can check them out.
You sure can.
Really, it's something you got to apply though.
You have to apply it. Yeah, you have to do that.
But freaking cool, man.
There's a lot of good stuff. But we're going to talk about that, as a prepper or in prepping versus pure bushcraft and all this kind of stuff. We got lots to talk
And
about.
I'm definitely not no full-on bushcrafter.
No.
PhD in bushcraft?
Mm-mm.
I don't have it.
PAC in bushcraft?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Masters? Possibly.
Yeah. Guys, most
Bachelor's.
subscription boxes are full of samples and junk you'll never use, but not the Battle Box. It's the monthly subscription box for men, full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, Battle Box sends you the coolest selection of handpicked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you normally pay. You never know what's in the next box. I gotta clear my throat for this. Get ready. But here's a sampling of what users received this month. The Fox Edge Done Deal Fixed Blade. And an Outdoor Life Emergency Survival Manual. You can't get enough books.
No, you can't.
You can say you can, but you'd be lying.
Yeah.
But
You would.
all this badassness starts at about $30 a month. They've shipped almost 1 million boxes, and they won Best Men's Subscription Box of 2017. Our listeners get a free knife when you sign up at trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. That is trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers. Get your first battle box plus a free knife at trybattlebox.com/casualpreppers.
Listener reviews starts now.
It is beginning.
It is beginning. Why don't you take this, Cam?
I'll do it. Okay. Great show. 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Despite their obvious social and emotional challenges, these guys put on a great, entertaining, and informative show. Some prepping shows make me want to hide in the basement with my guns and hard liquor.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can listen to this one without even drinking.
Thank you.
Grumpy Prepper.
Grumpy Prepper via Apple Podcasts. Thank you for the review. If you
That
guys,
was 12/27/20.
that was
Right
recent.
after Christmas.
Yeah. Merry Christmas,
Merry
Grumpy.
Christmas, I want to listen to podcasts.
Yeah. If you guys want to be a part of this portion of the podcast, go to iTunes, go to Facebook, go to the Kindle book on Amazon, go to the Bigfoot film on Amazon Prime. Leave us a 5-star review and make it awesome.
It's a mad, mad world.
So as we alluded to
Totally a madman word.
earlier, it's stuff 6 days into 2021 and the S hit the TF.
Sure did.
You know what I mean? Like it went bonkers really quick. So there was a protest with Trump supporters, near the Capitol, and then suddenly there were Trump supporters. Maybe it wasn't Trump supporters. There was people in the Capitol building, and they were wreaking havoc in there. Somebody got shot. They actually got into the House floor. There was so much crazy stuff that went on. Either way, it was bad. It wasn't good.
No.
And so I think in the next about 2 weeks, everybody needs to be kind of on high alert. Get your head on a swivel, make sure those gas tanks are full. Don't go hanging out at the Capitol building.
Yeah.
Don't go to the inauguration. If you're planning on it, just make different plans.
Seriously.
Stay home and watch The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Do whatever you got to do, but just don't go to the inauguration. I just, oh, man. People are just very divided. People are very pissed off. And
We need to let it settle.
Yeah, let the dust settle. Just do your thing. I know people are pissed off about the election, but at this point, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And breaking windows at the Capitol building,
It's not
honestly,
getting anything done.
yeah, it's probably not going to help. And I think the things that happened probably only hurt the cause, unfortunately.
I think so too.
You know, and I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's a conspiracy. It was Antifa members. It was BLM members. Maybe some of them were. Maybe they were. Doesn't change the fact that it happened and it doesn't look great.
Some weird stuff.
Yeah.
Around the whole
I'm
thing.
blaming the
I
damn
agree.
Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, me too.
Has
Harp.
to have something to do with it.
Harp.
Harp. Oh,
Harp's been affecting the election for years.
those windows probably broke on them their own.
Yeah.
With the
I'm going to vote. What this buffeting in my head.
buffeting. Tell me what to vote.
Yeah.
Anyways,
no good.
it's pretty crazy.
It is pretty.
That's my
freaking
mad
crazy.
world.
That's a good one.
Mhm.
So here's a mad world for you.
Okay.
I thought this was pretty interesting. So, China. China's always interesting, right?
Yeah.
So did you see recently they've been getting like a group of specialists? So, here, I'm going to read this.
Okay.
Took months.
Wait, I didn't mean to say KKK. I just said K several times. I apologize.
KKK.
Yeah, more Ks.
It took months of painstaking negotiations before the WHO could be persuaded to organize a mission of 10 experts to China that would inquire and investigate the real origins of SARS-CoV-2,
Okay.
the virus that causes COVID-19. It took a simple refusal by the Chinese government just recently to grant visas to the 10 experts. So China's like, nope, you're not going to investigate this.
We need a little more time before you come in
Yeah.
and to investigate.
We got our crews on it. We're not cleaned up. You can't come in.
That's not what they sound like. What do they really sound like? Come on, Cam.
No, you can't come in.
This is not possible.
You
Wait, that sounded a little French.
a little Mexican.
A little bit Mexican. I was getting French out of it. Who the hell knows what it sounds like?
Why you want come in here? No, you cannot.
You push a Tyrann button?
Did you see the weird thing? Like the Alibaba guy is like missing.
He's not anymore.
Oh, he isn't. Dang it.
Yeah, I know. The stock was plummeting, and he's like, oh shit,
We
this
need a
bad.
reform. Get the.
Get that guy. They all look the
Wrap
same.
him up. He
That
need to-
sounded Mexican too,
Yeah, I did.
and very racist.
How do you do this? You do not.
He finally did say that he was alive,
Yeah.
and so the stock went back up.
I was like,
Yeah.
they killed him. They killed him. Freaking China.
They
But-
did it. They did it.
But they may have just created a new one of him.
Okay.
They can do all kinds of stuff.
They
But
can
anyways,
do anything they want over there.
but seriously, that's
Yeah.
pretty sketchy to deny
Yeah.
10 experts to go in and investigate
Sure.
SARS, and they're like, no, we're going to eat no
Now.
visa for you.
No visa for you.
Visa, it's
Yeah.
not accepted everywhere.
No. How about an Amex?
It's not everywhere you want to be.
It's not.
So
That's crazy stuff, man.
That's kind of interesting.
It really is interesting.
All right. Speaking
So,
of interesting, let's get into
Let's
bush.
get into this. Bushcraft for the preppers.
Yeah.
You know?
Is it useful?
Is it?
Can preppers use it?
I think.
Are preppers and bushcrafters the same? Can they be the same?
What the hell's bushcraft?
I don't know.
Can you tell me?
Yes.
'Kay.
So, what is bushcraft? Your stupid thing on there. I'm gonna read what Kobe wrote. It's when a woman shaves her downstairs.
was really hoping
when we
you would-
were when we were messing with the notes,
Yeah.
he added that in there. And
Yeah. I was hoping you would like read it as you were going, like without even thinking about
That's
it.
possible, but no, I saw it.
Like a Anchorman type moment.
Yeah.
You know.
San Diego, go yourself.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm Ron Burgundy.
yeah,
I haven't seen that in a long time.
it's funny.
Yeah.
So bushcraft is the art of surviving in the woods. The official definition is the skill gained by or necessary for living in bush country, like not George Bush, like
It's like
Texas.
Texas. Midland, Texas.
But bushcraft is about thriving in the natural environment and the acquisition of skills and knowledge to do so. Bushcraft skills include firecraft, tracking, hunting, fishing, shelter building, navigation by natural means, the use of tools such as knives and axes, foraging, water sourcing, hand carving, wood containing constructing, naturaling,
Roping.
twining making, and other things.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so it's basically like using your environment to work for you.
Sure.
Building fires,
but it's
crafting
about
goods.
it's about being in the woods, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
so it's like full on like Boy Scout Boy Scout level.
That's some Boy Scout. Let's track it.
Boy Scout
fresh.
level 50. It's like Eagle Scout
that's
on
Boy Scout.
steroids.
That's Boy Scout.
There was a TikTok post that said, one of those like, tell me you've never touched a woman by telling me you've never touched a woman. And it's
Without
like,
actually telling me.
and then there's a scout that comes. He's all, I will do my honor to do my duty.
Yeah, that's awesome.
True. But anyways, this is like this is like MacGyver of the woods.
Yeah.
Like
For sure.
practicing these skills it makes you like way more efficient with living in the woods.
For sure.
Make fires quicker. Make canoes faster. Make fires bigger.
Yeah, exactly. All three.
Yeah. So over the years, obviously, we've developed better survival gear and tools. This, like, bushcrafting doesn't mean you can't use these new modern day things, but
Yeah.
you do use a lot of like natural sources, like make rope out of reeds from the
Sure.
pond.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's just it's cool stuff. So over centuries of man being a bad A and learning, and women being an even bad A-er, nice A,
Oh, yeah.
have learned to use all these different wilderness things to survive. And we, like nowadays, the long-term prepper, who knows? You're going to run out of supplies from the grocery store. And ketchup is going to be gone. You got to learn to make your own ketchup out in bushcraft.
From the woods.
Yeah.
Wood ketchup.
So to me, like bushcraft's like the sexy version of the survivalist.
Ooh.
It's just like,
Some of them aren't very sexy, though.
no, they're not. They're
Some
like
of 'em
gross. Probably stink like butthole.
Exactly.
They're basically they just convert into Bigfoot. Stinky, hairy.
Maybe that's what Bigfoot is.
Stinky, hairy butthole
Bushcrafters that
walking
just
around.
never came home. That's Bigfoot.
We freaking discovered it.
Solving problems
yeah.
one episode at a time.
Answering all of your conspiracy
Yeah.
questions. So, a prepper, on the other hand, we all know what a prepper is: a person who believes a catastrophic disaster or an emergency is likely to occur in the future and makes active preparations for it.
Sure.
Typically by stockpiling food, ammo, guns, ammo,
5.56.
ammo, and guns, and other supplies.
Yeah.
So this is a person who's prepared to survive these disasters because they've prepared to survive these disasters.
But what about a casual prepper?
Yeah. That's like the suburban urban bourbon
Whoa. Yeah.
prepper that's,
It doesn't-
we live in society. We go to work every day. We don't live in the woods. And so
We don't.
which would survive longer? There's like, would a bushcraft person, do better? Would just a suburban prepper do better?
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. But having both of these skills, I think, is the best, like, all-around thing. You got to learn how to live in the woods. Like, it's freaking hard.
It's not
Like,
easy,
just
no.
camping.
It's horrible
I'm
sometimes.
like, yeah, I'm going to go out there and try some tools. And second day, I'm like, screw this.
20 minutes later, you're like, oh,
So-
why'd I do this?
And it kind of comes down to that lone wolf thing,
Sure.
If all of your family was skilled at bushcraft, which is, I don't know how that would happen, but
I don't know.
the
Bigfoot
lone
family.
wolf person probably would be more of a bushcrafter or need to learn how to do that kind of thing.
Sure.
Anyways, let's get into some of the skills and why bushcrafting would be useful for a prepper as well.
Yeah, so sometimes there's a little bit of a conflict sometimes between like the pure bushcrafter, and sometimes when you look at bushcrafters, they also kind of say I'm a bushcrafter / survivalist type thing,
right.
and then you have the preppers. But so let's kind of look at those, like which approach is better and which approach is better for which situations.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what it comes down to, right? And there's actually some preppers that we can classify as bushcraft preppers, some that we classify as suburban preppers, and some obviously that we classify as like casual preppers like us, right? And so what do we consider a straight up bushcraft prepper? Cam kind of talked about that, but they focus their primary skill development on the primitive skills, right? They're less concerned with storing food, storing water, buying gear. They focus on getting what they need for the short or the long-term survival from that natural environment, which is the woods, the bush. If you're
They're
not
the
familiar.
guys yelling at you for using a lighter. To
Yeah, it's
start
like
a fire.
where are you gonna find a bick in the woods? Yeah, no. Yeah, and so, which I
Not
understand.
all of them.
Not all of them, but some of them do, right? And then there's the suburban or the casual or even the doomsday prepper, right? There's a bunch of those. They put their focus on, like we talk about all the time, a wide array of skills and gear and security and kits and stores and all those types of things, right? When it comes down to it, for me, I think you should, to be the best of all, you need to have a piece of every little bit of this.
Right.
I think a lot of people like to live in the black and white, Cam. You got to live in the gray a little bit, all right?
You do.
People need to learn this these days
Right.
badly, as
Right.
we're seeing throughout
It was
the country.
kind of like the episode on hunting, you know.
Yeah, sure.
It's like we get our food from Walmart
Mm-hmm.
and all that, but to not have a knowledge of that skill and
Sure.
learn how to do it, like it's not going to work out very well in the long run.
No, I
But at
don't
the
think
same
so
time,
either.
you're not going to be living entirely as a hunter
No,
because
no.
there's a lot that think they're going to.
Yeah.
And, you
And
know,
there's going to
then
be
you're going to be shooting and stringing you up and eating your guts.
there's not going to be nothing left
Hunter
to hunt.
on hunter.
Yes. Hunter on hunter crime. So which approach is better and which approach is better for which situations? And again, it just very much depends on what type of SHTF situation, what type of emergency scenario. What time is it? Is this over yet?
Get over with.
Is this over? So let's look at that. So
I'll just
let's
tell them I downloaded it. I didn't listen to it.
yeah. Nobody will even know. Nobody gets this far into the podcast
yeah,
anyways.
you guys are skipping to the end.
They all want the quick and dirty medical tip.
Right, that's all they want.
My computer's now being dumb on me. So let's look at suburban preppers.
You're getting hit with harp.
Prosing. Harp. I'm having heart pains. Suburban prepper pros and cons. So when it comes down to it, when we break down the most likely SHTF or emergency scenarios or events, for me, I believe that the casual prepper is going to be better equipped on the larger percentage of those events, right? Especially if that prepper has like even the basic knowledge of bushcraft, right? I mean, we'll talk
agree.
about some of those things. We talk about this all the time. Our big thing is your personal apocalypse. You know, if your car breaks down or if you
By
lose
far
a
the
job.
most common thing to happen.
Yeah, if the power goes out for a short period of time. So there's a lot of those things that it's great to know bushcraft skills, but it's not necessarily better than having some cash on hand or some food storage or EDC kit in your vehicle, right? I don't think it outweighs it. If your car breaks down, good luck bushcrafting your way out of it, right? Are you gonna
Cut that rubber up.
gonna make a new spark plug from a oak tree? I don't think you're going to.
Hey, can you do that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Acorn on top.
Someone's figured it out. You got to figure out how to get a charge in there. You just got to harness the harp waves into it somehow.
Tons of clothes hangers.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But you're going to be in a really good situation if you're a prepper and you've got a power bank that can jump that car, or if you have an emergency app on your phone to call roadside assistance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you just have to look at
The chaos of 2020, and the world still exists.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, so it's like,
Yeah.
it will take a lot to just
Sure.
destroy all humanity. And
And so let's think about even like a short-term power outage. This happens all the time, pretty much every single year, right?
yeah,
Not many.
pull your sheetrock off, start cutting up
I
your
know, that's what I'm saying.
2x4s.
Not many people are going to immediately head to the woods and start crafting spears. You know what I mean? And like
Right.
whittling spoons.
Right.
Not that that wouldn't be cool and all, but like it's just not like immediately helpful in that
Yeah.
situation. I
It's
don't
like
think.
that video we did. It's like the
Yeah.
the very first thing that the pandemic starts, and we just like
we go
we
start
did a video
fishing with
where
a
we
net out in the woods. It's so
just
dumb.
gave up on all the gear and skills.
That
and
person had it
convenience.
in their mind. One thing happens and they're done with society,
Yeah.
right? It's just, I'm finished.
Yeah.
You know, they cancel my favorite show, I'm living in the woods. Like, that's just their mindset. But, you know, if in a short-term power outage, if you had a blackout kit with candles and headlamps and emergency radio, you're well equipped for that situation, right? Okay, and even if we go to a medium-term type SHTF, those were both like short-term stuff, right? Let's go to like a medium-term SHTF situation where, you know, hunting could be a beneficial thing in maybe it's like a couple of months where stuff's gone haywire and, you know, food is a little bit scarce, so you want to go out and do a little bit of hunting. I think the casual prepper probably has prepped a gun and some ammo and is going to
More
be
so.
more equipped than going out and whittling an arrow
a
and
rocket sling.
yeah, I mean, again, I think the prepper wins in that situation a little bit, right? You can go and dig holes for deer to fall in, but
Yeah.
it just seems like not the best way to go about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe catch yourself a prepper.
Yeah, I've just caught that prepper. He's got a gun on him.
They're gonna come into this forest, think they own the place.
It's
They're gonna
like-
fall in a bunch of traps.
It's just like those preppers say, well, I'm going to take my gun and I'm going to take your stuff.
Yeah.
It's the bushcrafters.
same
like,
thing.
I'm digging a hole and I'm taking you. You know?
Your bones are gonna be my next spoon.
Your femur is my next bow.
Yeah.
See how that works. A sword. I'm making a femur sword.
That's gonna be good fishing gear out of those.
Fishing. Those phalanges are going to catch me a trout.
That gut. Carp loves gut.
Carp loves lower intestines. Tell you that right now. So yeah,
First thing I need to do. First on the list of bushcrafting.
Yeah.
Capture a human.
Capture
Get
me
you some bone.
a
And
casual prepper. Mm-hmm.
you don't know.
So when you look at those situations,
Got you off topic.
yeah, now I don't know what I'm saying. I feel like the prepper, the suburban prepper, the casual prepper probably fares better,
Yeah.
right? But I'm not saying that those bushcrafters haven't done any of that. I'm just saying pure bushcrafter,
No. Yeah.
pure prepper.
Prepper.
So, but let's talk about some other things where a prepper or a bushcrafter would have
Bush prepper.
bush prepper would have a good
Prep
scenario.
crafter.
So let's talk about in a short to long term scenario where you get lost in the woods.
Yeah.
Think about it, Cam. I think the bushcrafter would probably have a huge advantage here.
Huge advantage.
Probably over any of these situations.
Yep.
Especially if
Or a
for
plane
some
crash. Is that what you-
Yep, that's one of the things I was talking about too. A plane crash into the woods, like a hatchet scenario or whatever it is, they are definitely going to have a huge advantage
Right.
because they don't need much to thrive in that environment. Me, on the other hand, I'm not going to do great. I mean, I have like basic bushcraft skills. I could probably get a fire started, maybe.
I can poop in a hole.
I could poop in a hole.
Yeah.
I could fall in a hole if I had to. But I think the bushcrafter probably wins out in that situation.
I agree.
Obviously. And then let's talk about even a long-term SHTF
That's
scenario.
the first thing I'm doing. If a plane's going down, back, who's our bushcrafters?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody up front.
Yeah, I'm strapping him to my back, and I'm not losing him. You know what I mean?
Make yourself in a backpack, bushcrafter.
I got a bushcraft backpack. Bushcrafter backpack.
Yep, he's
Take
a
that.
bushcrafter in there.
Backpack.
It's a good idea.
So a long-term total SHTF scenario. In this scenario, the bushcraft
Like Castaway.
prepper. Yeah.
A bushcrafter's gonna
Great.
probably live there forever. Not even
Bushcrafter's
gonna try to get off the island.
gonna be happy,
Yeah.
probably. But let's talk about a long-term SHTF scenario. Eventually stored food runs out. Stored water runs out. Buildings can be destroyed. Or living in total isolation in the woods might be an only option. And for sure, in that situation, the bushcrafter wins out. 100% of the time. There's no doubt about that in my mind that is going to be their situation. But let's talk about this. Relying solely off of nature may not be possible in some SHTF situations or scenarios. Because a lot of times they say, well, it doesn't matter what it is. I'll just go into the woods.
Yeah, or some locations.
Or some
Like
locations.
we have some extremes here.
For sure.
Super hot, deserty, and then it turns to we had
Ice.
negative
Yeah.
like 4 the other day.
Exactly. So think about this situation. Is it a total nuclear apocalypse?
Yeah.
And if that's the situation, good luck living in the woods, because if you go outside, you're probably going to be radiated, right? So think about that. Is it like a weird disease that ravages the animals and the people? And you have to stay isolated? Maybe you'd be okay in the woods. Maybe not.
What
I
if
don't
it's
know.
a Bigfoot takeover?
They're part of the Bigfoot family. It doesn't matter.
That's true.
Bushcraft.
They're like adopted children.
Yeah. Are you in a more highly populated area that has woods nearby, and in that SHTF scenario, those woods just become overrun? Because that is a huge possibility.
Yeah.
All the city folk, like, I'm going out to the woods and I'm going to live there, and everybody else is in the woods with you. That makes it a little bit harder, right? That's going to
You're
be
in
tough.
California and it's all burned down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
forest left.
There's no forest left. Is it a bad year for rabbits or game? Are the berries and nuts going to be enough to feed your family? Right? Probably not. I mean, maybe you could. Is there enough fish out there to sustain you or whatever it is? But it's just you just have to look at those situations and see what's best for you. Again, in my opinion, the prepper is going to win out over a straight bushcrafter in most SHTF scenarios. But I think the hybrid approach is absolutely the way to go, because a bushcrafter who is also a casual prepper, they're going to be king of the damn world.
Right.
Right? I'm prepping, plus I'm also a really good bushcrafter. Good gracious, man. I want him on my team, right? So I think that every prepper should at least know the basics of a few bushcraft things, and Cam's going to talk about what those might be. But again, these situations are where bushcraft is super helpful. Lost in the woods. No doubt about it, you're going to be in a better situation if you understand bushcrafting. Bugging out. It could be a situation where you're bugging out through the woods or into the woods or past the woods, and those bushcraft skills are going to come in really handy.
Or if you're bugging out and you're trying to lose your your tail, and you have to stay in the woods for who knows how long before you go back to your bug out location.
Yeah, those skills are going to be hugely beneficial. And then like we talked about, a long-term, complete grid down, electricity is gone, living off the land scenario.
Mm-hmm.
That's where those bushcraft skills are going to be super helpful.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we go on,
okay,
cyber attacks. They happen all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Your information, you go online, go shop for something, click on an ad. There goes your whole rest of your future. Cryptocurrency's gone.
Yeah.
Or you're searching for cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Anyway, you need to do it safe. You need to be gray man online. And
Sure.
There's one way to do that, and a very inexpensive and useful way to do that is Surfshark.
They're the best, man.
They are. They are. Super easy to use app. They have unlimited uses. So when you subscribe, it covers every device that connects to the intranets. That's the best thing.
It sure
right
does.
there.
Yeah.
You know what? If you don't even know what it is, it's a VPN. If you don't know what that is, try it for 30 days for free.
Then you'll know.
You can try it, see if you'll use it. If you don't, you get your money back. That is a killer deal right there.
Yep.
So if you use our code Casual Preppers, you get 84% off and 2 extra months for free.
That's not a misprint. That's not that's real.
Yeah.
84%.
Actually, yeah, you do get 4 extra months because you get 2 per year. So if it's $221 a month, but if you subscribe for the yearly plan, it's less than $60 and you get 28 months. It's all fully refundable in 30 days.
I can't even count that high.
So that is super inexpensive, and it seriously is the easiest VPN to use.
Mm-hmm.
You can select whatever server, whatever country, and the nice thing too is you can use that to your advantage. You can go to the UK, pretend like your computer's there, access the beautiful Netflix UK library.
Sure.
They got some unique weird crap on there.
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm sure they do.
But stuff that isn't on the, you can use it for entertainment.
They shoot it all in 25 frames a second.
But seriously,
like dummies.
$60 a month for a virtual private network, and it's super fast, super easy to use. You're dumb not to get it. Pay an extra $1, and you get Surfshark's email alert system.
Yeah.
They will send you an email when your email is compromised, which is pretty freaking cool because that happens all the time. Like literally, you should be changing your password like at least
every 15
3
seconds.
months.
Every 15 seconds, change your password.
Seriously, like all the time. So, like even right now, I was looking on my Chrome browser, and it's like 106 passwords could be compromised. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I've been going through and like changing everything.
Yeah.
Use VPN. It'll
Good.
keep you protected.
Absolutely. Well, let's go back to those bushcraft and let's talk about the skills and the skill sets, Cam.
Yeah.
As a prepper.
So, what skill sets would apply best for a prepper? There are tons of bushcrafting skills, and they're like super in depth and they're super cool. But maybe you just won't be on a casual bushcrafter side.
Yeah.
Which is what we do best.
Oh,
we casualize everything. Is that a word? I don't think so.
It is now.
So, but yeah, like Kobe had said, there's going to be times when most of the time, as a casual prepper and having your supplies that you're either going to run out or you've got to travel somewhere, you got to bug out, that you're going to have to use some primitive skill to survive.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't, but if you do, you need to know how to do some of these things. And just from videos and stuff that we've done and testing gear, I'm like, I'm a dummy.
Oh, it's
starting
so-
a fire is not even
It's
as
not easy.
as it's
It's not easy.
like it seems easy, but there's different scenarios. Like we were doing videos in a cave and it was all damp. It was a son of a bee to get a fire going with all the gear we had.
I was reading this news story about a couple years back. These guys got lost over here behind Dinosaur National Monument. They were out there for like a week. They had a Bic lighter and they could not get a fire started in a week.
Wow, really?
Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It just shows you how, like, you have to practice that stuff.
Yeah.
And how hard it is to just make a fire, even if you have a Bic lighter.
It's true. It's true. And that's the one thing I do like about bushcrafting too, is it's like very economical. Like you use less supplies to get what you need, or you're starting a fire with way less effort, or building a boat or a ship or a Noah's Ark.
Yep.
You just are using things way smarter with bushcraft skills.
Yeah,
so
sure.
some of the categories, bushcraft skills in food, like we were saying, making a fire. There's a lot that goes into making a useful, fire that's not just a big smoke ball.
Yeah.
So using those skills.
There's so many different methods.
Right.
To
right.
do
There's
it.
feathering your wood.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
And,
there's that.
And knowing what things burn longer, there's different hardwoods and softwoods and
what
stuff.
woods are smokier and which woods give off less smoke.
Yeah.
Because that really is a
Morning
thing.
woods. What do you do with that?
I've never figured it out. Can't figure it out.
And then wood processing, and so there's primitive ways to keep a fire going at night, so you can go and forage and come back, and your fire's still going, and then tool making, how you can use stone and all those different things, make a bone knife, out of an animal that you killed, or
Femur bone.
You think this came off a chicken or something?
Biology 101.
Plant identification, that's important. Don't
Yeah.
wipe your butthole with
Poison oak.
Poison oak, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not good.
You won't
And then-
be excited about it.
A lot of the time, like some of the bushcrafting stuff that I've found super fascinating is like using rocks to like keep you warm underneath,
Yeah,
and
sure.
using them to like cook stuff slowly.
Mm-hmm.
What leaves to wrap like food in and cooking that's not going to kill you or cause
Yeah.
a massive rash. Like it's super important. What to forage, how to forage, where to look, what kind of plants have what. Those are all food procurement and processing. Like those are all really big skills for bushcrafting. The other skill set is water skills. Bushcrafting water skills.
Yeah.
Locating water. What water's potable, and that does not mean
Yeah.
that it's not good. But yeah, what's the risks and what could be in the water? How to purify and clean water, and it gets even more detailed where you can just use a regular water bottle and stacking like sand and then rock and then charcoal, and you can make your own filter.
And again, all of this is with minimal gear. Like that's how they do this stuff is.
Yeah, because that's the hardest thing, I think, is packing a bug out bag that doesn't weigh 7,000 pounds.
Yeah, sure.
And you find after using it and using the gear in it of what's useful and what's not. So
Yeah.
that's probably a huge key to like bushcrafting, is like they don't need to carry as much. They got a knife and they can just take over the world with
Yeah,
that knife.
doesn't matter. That's all they need.
But the water skill, locating water, collecting water, and then purifying it and storing it just for use out in the wilderness. Other skills are shelter. That's a huge thing, and that's where all those Instagram posts are like these bad A shelters that they build.
Insane, man.
It's super freaking hard to build a durable shelter that's going to withstand like snowpack and.
Yeah, it's like I could make an emergency shelter in the woods
I
if I
could probably
needed to
protect from
to get overnight.
a drizzle.
Yeah.
But like from wind and snow, like if you're going to be out there for a long time, you need to know how to make.
Yeah.
And that comes down to the efficiency of like heat and keeping you warm during the night so you don't freeze your nuts off.
Where to put the fire and like, which way the wind's blowing. There's like all these different things when you're doing
much.
that you have to understand, and bushcrafters are great at it.
Yeah.
They're great.
So types of shelter, different resources, tying knots, locating, and the location of your shelter is all super important. Bushcraft skills, security. So being stealth, clearing your track so people, maybe you don't want to be found. That's the whole purpose of living off the land. You don't really want to have somebody pitch a tent right next to your bushcraft
I never
facility.
want somebody to pitch a tent next to me, ever.
So honestly, not leaving anything that people can see, because if they see that there's another human there, they will pitch a tent right next to you.
Yeah. This is perfect.
Drives me freaking nuts.
9,000 square miles of forest, and I'm going to pitch a tent right next to you. That's how it's going to happen.
Every time.
Every time.
I'm going to turn the radio on all night.
Yeah.
Play some music.
Yeah.
Anyway. But bushcrafting does involve being stealthy.
Yeah, for sure.
And knowledge of the area, how to utilize the area to give you an advantage if somebody's, coming after you. Primitive alarms, tying up some pots and pans or something, simple things to protect yourself, but also be stealthy. And then obviously some self-defense. These are all bushcrafting skills that are a little more primitive, but super useful for a prepper surviving in the woods.
Yes, sir.
These are kind of some shared skills by both preppers and bushcrafters. The health and fitness, first aid, you need to know how to take care of yourself. If, you step on a freaking stick.
If you're out in the woods, you're going to get hurt. Like, there's just no way around it.
Yeah, the
like,
wilderness
you always
is
get
brutal.
hurt. Yeah, it's super brutal. So you have to have, like, that basic first aid knowledge, and then how to do that with minimal first aid gear.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's those natural cures and all those types of things. You gotta know that stuff.
Yep. And I know people think that they're, freaking Iron Man and they're not going to get hurt out in the wilderness.
You're going to.
But almost like every hunting season, I see somebody just slices their hand open with, when they're preparing the meat, or they pull an arrow out and it slices their hand. And it's like it happens to super highly skilled hunters all the time. So,
and if you think about it, if you're a bushcrafter, I mean, you have a knife in your hands like 80% of the time. It's inevitable that you're going to slice yourself.
Right.
Like, there's just no way around it.
Yeah.
If
You
you
get
have a
hurt.
knife out, at some point, you're going to slice yourself.
yeah, every time we went out and filmed the video, I bled.
Yeah, there was bleeding every time.
Sweat and blood, every video.
Yeah, and it wasn't like that type of time of the month thing either. It was like straight up cutting yourself.
Yeah, I sliced my finger, or I smashed it with a rock or something. But you're going to get hurt. You need to know how to take care of yourself.
For sure.
Endurance, obviously.
Yep.
Hiking around in the wilderness, dragging logs, building shelter, avoiding danger.
Digging holes.
Right. You're going to be worn out. You need to be healthy. And that, too, will avoid as much, injury.
Yeah.
More injury.
For sure.
Strength, you want to be tough.
Yeah.
You got to be tough. Overall health. If you're relying on prescription medications every month, sometimes you do have to. I understand.
As a bushcrafter, it's hard to get
That, yeah, you're not.
propranolol in the woods.
This
Xanax.
This is a beta blocker bush.
Beta blocker
Thank
bush.
goodness. Aspirin comes from bark.
How much am I supposed to eat of this?
Yeah.
How many miggies is this? I don't know. What's the conversion rate?
Yeah. So, and then situational. Oh no, I jumped.
It's just funny. Some people too. It's like, just one bite of dandelion root is as good as 4 Xanax.
Yeah, they go.
I don't think so.
I know.
Much as you want that to be true, it's not.
No. Synthetic medicines are made very, very well, and if you don't have to rely on them, the better.
Yeah.
And then diet. Obviously, you need to know how much protein, and you can't just sit out there and eat berries all day long and expect to keep your health.
Yeah, good
You
luck
gotta
getting a
have a
solid
variety.
Duke after eating berries for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah, so you're like
No.
battling other problems from the only food you can find.
Yeah.
So you need to know how to counter these issues you're going to run into. And then the mental preparedness. I camped for 2 days with my kids, and I want to commit suicide.
You weren't mentally prepared for that,
No.
were you?
So I can only imagine taking my family into the wilderness away from danger and trying to survive. It
It's
would
like-
probably be worse. I'll take my chances.
I know. I was like, which danger's worse? I don't know.
Right, right. So you have to have a survival mindset. You have to plan. You have to know how to, continue and keep your group motivated. Creativity, you got to learn all kinds of different things to prepare for and be on the lookout. And the one thing about it's not like it's always a set survival scenario. You're going to go into the wilderness and it's always going to be the same thing. You got to deal with bears and everything changes. So you've got to be adaptable too.
Yeah.
And then the situational awareness, being able to spot people that are coming, what areas are more dangerous. You don't want to camp in the middle of a gulch when there's thunderstorms coming. I'm going to be right down the bottom.
Or fall in a person hole.
Yeah.
You know? Don't want to do that.
Don't try and scale a cliff if you don't have to.
No. Avoid
Should I
anything
go
like
around
that.
this? It's going to take me another mile, or should I try and climb this rock?
Let's just climb it.
Yeah. Don't try and save time.
Get on my
Know
back.
what's
We're
best.
doing it.
And then the planning and strategy is obviously a big part of prepping and bushcrafting is
Yeah.
think things through.
So there's so many freaking skills to learn. Like there's a lot.
I didn't even mention the navigation skill.
No, there's so many.
That
of them.
wasn't. I mean, there are, but these are ones like these are some of the basics that preppers need to know.
Yeah.
You know, so
And that's a lot. There's so many.
there's a huge list.
It's like, how
right
do you
there.
learn that stuff? Like, where do
Basically,
you learn it?
Know how to deal with food. Know how to deal with water.
Yeah.
Build a shelter. Security. Navigate.
Health,
Health.
fitness,
And preparedness.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. And so, where do you go to learn these things? There's really endless resources when you think
There's
about
some
it.
really good YouTube videos.
Yeah, so if you go to YouTube, that's a great resource. Have you ever seen TA Outdoors?
I have.
Holy moly, the shelters and things they build are bonkers. Like,
I'd love to just try one, but I know that
it's too much work.
so much work.
I got things to
but
do.
They look amazing.
I got to go to work
Look better
the
than
next
my
day.
house.
No, I'm like, what's the equity on that thing? Because I think you look good in
How many
this real
square
estate
feet?
market. How many square feet you working with? Yeah. So if
You
you
got central air, or
you got AC in this sucker, yeah. So TA Outdoors, they do a lot of cool stuff on YouTube, and to be honest, there's a million channels that are doing bushcraft stuff. If you want to learn, that is a wealth of knowledge there on the bushcraft site on YouTube. I mean, it's never ending.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So go on YouTube, and if there's one of these things that you want to learn, type it in. Type in
right.
bushcraft.
And
you're
even
gonna
though
find
I
it.
said earlier, you can't just watch and read, but you have to do those things first.
You have to start there.
Yeah.
There's no other way to
but
do
practicing,
Practice it.
practicing them.
Yes, that's the very formal version of practicing.
That's what bushcrafters say.
Yeah,
it's practice.
It's an Italian bushcrafter.
The practice.
You got the practice, and then we
We
did
can
the
arrive
pasta.
at your house in the 15 seconds.
Mario. Oh, Mario.
And my
Yeah, so YouTube, that's a great place to start. TikTok has some actually really cool stuff. Have you seen at Donnie Dust? Oh my gosh. He's got like millions of followers. He was on Alone, the show.
oh yeah, that's a
Holy
good
crap.
idea.
So TikTok has some really good stuff too, but I think he might also be on YouTube, but I've been watching him on
Probably,
TikTok.
probably.
Great stuff. Books, obviously, Dave Canterbury, Bushcraft 101 is exactly what it says. Bushcraft
Yeah.
101. It's right where you should start.
It was free for a while on
Was it?
Amazon for what's the Amazon
I still
thing?
don't
Kindle.
own it. I still don't own it, and I
know,
need to. Man.
I need to buy the book, the paper book.
Yeah, the paper book.
But they had the digital one for free for quite a while.
Nice.
And I looked through it, and it does. It's like it's explained super well, and the pictures
Yeah.
are primitive.
You can look at it for hours.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Like the 101 is by far the one.
And then
that you should
there's
own.
an advanced version of the book too.
Yes,
So
yeah.
that's a great place to start, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
It's just like natural man, like I want
Man
to be
stuff.
bushcrafter,
Yeah,
women stuff too.
for sure. Yeah, and if you go to IG, Instagram, you can actually follow Pathfinder Survival, and that's Dave Canterbury on.
It is. I didn't
on
know that was
Instagram.
his thing.
Yeah, and he has a
don't know if I've
business
looked it up.
called Pathfinder Survival. They actually sell a bunch of bushcraft stuff. So
He's a man.
he's the man when it comes to bushcrafting as well. So go check him out there. And then podcasts, go search Bushcraft. There's a few of them on there. I've never listened to any of them.
Is he American?
Yeah.
Seems like he'd be a Canadian.
No,
Those
I'm
guys
pretty sure
always-
he's American, isn't he?
Probably.
But anyways, there's so many places in the media today to go find this stuff. YouTube, TikTok, books, Instagram, podcasts. It's endless. Go check one of them out, or go check all of them out, and just start looking at some skills and start with one and start practicing it. You just have to practice and practice and practice. This stuff is super hard to do, but the more you practice, the better you're going to get.
Yeah.
And a big piece, and one of my favorite pieces of bushcraft is the gear.
Yeah.
That's like the funnest part for me to look at and to see. I'm not great with any of this, but it's the funnest stuff.
And that's what we've talked a ton about too, is like, don't put it in your bug out bag if you haven't used it or know how
Yeah.
to use it. It's like there is some amazing gear and you need to use it and try it out. So there's some like key gear for bushcrafters that, they always have on them or use or are always in their photos because they're super useful and they're the things you want. So no matter the location that you're in, you want to have these items. And most of the time, most of us, as preppers, and if you're really getting into prepping, you probably have most of these things.
Yeah, for sure.
So number one item is hatchet or an axe. They always have one of those suckers Because trying to cut down a tree and logs with a survival knife is
not the best.
It's not the best. Possible, but horrible.
You could get it done if you're using like a machete or something,
Right.
like a bigger machete.
Yep.
But with a fixed blade,
Yeah.
good luck.
But the hatchet and axe, man, they're so freaking useful.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually have, the flat backside so you can hammer stuff. And
Yeah.
so super useful tool.
Yes.
And I just did a video recently of, probably not the greatest axe, but a cool multi-tool axe is the Zippo.
The 3-in-1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The axe saw, because you get a bow saw and you get a kind of a hatchet, and you can do all kinds of different things with
You
it.
can hammer stuff with it too.
But yeah, usually this is why a lot of people are like pretty, snobby about what kind of hatchet or
Bushcrafters
axe.
are super snobby about it.
Yeah.
And I get it because
you
they're
need
using
a high quality one.
Yeah.
Because we had one that I tested and it snapped the handle like 3 strikes.
Yeah.
And it looked like a solid one, an old fashioned one, had a good head on it.
Wasn't great.
Freaking snapped it in half.
Yeah.
And trying to split wood like the Zippo one, for example,
That's
the
not
handle
great.
comes up around the head, so you can't drive it through.
Yeah.
So you need to play with and find a really good solid axe or hatchet.
If you're going to get serious about doing this stuff, spend a little extra money when it comes to that piece of it, because if you're using a cheap one, you're using it so much, and it's so important in these types of situations and with these skills that you have to have a nice one.
Yeah.
It's worth the little bit of extra money.
Yeah,
to do that.
there's an old movie I just watched with my kids like a couple of months ago that's called Hatchet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Same as the book?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Actually, I think it's different from the book, because the book's called The Hatchet, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
The movie is called A Cry in the Wild.
Oh,
Not
A
A
Cry
Call
in
in
the
the Wild,
A
because
Cry
that's
in
The
the Wild.
Wolf by
Yeah.
Jack London, but A Cry in the Wild, and it has the kid off from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh,
The
okay.
one little
The nerdy kid?
no, the neighbor kid that's like shorter, the younger one.
the younger one,
That's
okay.
kind of a little turd.
He's also in Big, isn't he? Isn't he
That
the
is
friend?
him.
He's
Yep.
the friend in Big.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
A Cry in the Wild, it's like 1991 or something, but
Nice.
it's pretty cool because he just has a hatchet
Nice, yeah.
and he uses that. And then there's a book. Anyway, hatchets. So the other thing is a good solid knife,
yeah.
fixed blade preferably.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Hey,
I'm gonna
hey
take
now.
this. You okay with that? So there are some really good switchblades that are
Switchblades.
or switchblades.
Fixed blades.
Fixed. No, not a fixed blade. What am I saying?
I don't know.
I
Like
would
a
go with
folding knife?
a folding knife. Gosh, I don't know why I said switchblade.
Okay.
There are some really good folding knives that lock, and they can be used pretty good as a fixed blade. But I would totally go with the
Well,
fixed blade here.
Tops makes a folding
Cub?
version. It's not the Cub. It's the other one. Crap. What is it?
It's like the outdoorsman or whatever, huh?
What's it called? Yeah. So they make
The
one.
one that has the bow drill on it.
I think it might be that one. Tops has a lot of good stuff.
Cubs, they have the Cub one looks a lot like that one, but
It
the
does,
one that you're
yes.
talking about is a little bigger.
It's called the feather. No. Gosh dang it! I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it.
If you look at the Cub knife that Tops makes, they have a bigger version than the one Kobe's explaining. It has a bow drill hole in it, which is freaking cool.
Yeah, it is cool, huh?
Anyways, that's like one of my favorite knives, and they designed it for Bushcrafter in mind.
Yeah.
But this is a great knife, and you want one that you can, like if you've
The
watched videos-
Fieldcraft.
Yeah, that's
So
the
the
one.
Fieldcraft knife, they make it in a folder.
Oh, you were showing me that.
Yeah,
I
it's
would-
really
that's pretty
cool.
sweet.
Yeah, so check that out. See,
And I would trust Tops knives to have a good folding knife. That's
I've actually played with it. We saw it at
Yeah, wasn't it PrepperCon?
Maybe it was PrepperCon, one of those shows that we went to.
Yeah.
I was actually pretty impressed with it. I don't know if you're a really serious bushcrafter, just get a fixed blade.
Yeah.
But if you want something
there
that
is
could
a
work,
quality
yeah,
version of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, watching those videos, they chop with them. They make like notches to build things,
Yep.
and then they're using it to split wood. Like you can hit on the back side of it. You just want a good quality, solid knife. You
Yeah.
don't want to just you're not going to use your EDC knife to survive.
no,
Like,
no,
I'm not saying you don't carry one, but anyways, fixed blade, a saw. And that's why you can have kind of there's so many different varieties of saw types. I mean, you can even get a chainsaw blade with two little grips on it. We have one of those that you can use to saw wood. But having like a type of bow saw, I love the Wicked bone saw. because it's aluminum handle, it's super durable, and it's way light, and you just attach it to your belt. So, ferro rod, flint and steel. Like we've said, you're not a pussy if you carry a Bic. We have
You're
a
actually
lot
a smart
of
person if you carry a Bic.
There's millions of them out there. They work, save you a lot of time.
Yeah.
But know how to use a ferro rod and flint and steel, or how to find it. Like you can find different types in the wilderness, But and get a good one, because we've tried multiple, and you'll just jack up the rod, and it's like
You'll injure yourself.
He's
man.
like turn it into a serrated blade.
Yeah.
And it's Anyways, get a good high quality one, and they have a ton of variety of them. Like they have the little push one where you just it flips out, and then I think it's not SOG that makes it. It's the other little outdoor. Anyway, and you just push that one. You just push it into a rock, and it just shaves off some magnesium, and you got a nice way to start a fire. But anyways, check out different ways to start a fire. A compass, know how to use it. Get a good solid compass that most of the time you'll get one that has a mirror, and you can use that mirror to start fires and stuff.
Sure.
Or heat things, and you can get multiple things in one item. But the compass, no matter how good you are at navigating, it is going to be useful.
Yeah,
and you
for
need
sure.
to have one.
Yeah.
Pots and stove, got to cook and prepare things. It's going to be really hard to do it with a natural made rock.
Yeah, any bushcrafter probably needs to have this.
Yeah. So you have to have some way of carrying your water, preparing your water, and preparing your food. So, and then cordage, paracord. There's some sweet paracord that has like, I think it's laced with like a flammable. It has like 5 different cords in there.
The Survivor cord, I think.
Yeah,
is the
it has
one
fishing line. It has wire to cut with.
Yep.
It has
Like fire tinder.
Fire tinder, that's what it is. Anyways, paracord. Obviously, you're not going to be building very strong. You can if you're really smart, but for like the common prepper, you want to have some paracord.
Another good thing we'd have is that settler's wrench is pretty cool.
That's right.
Because you can, for bushcrafting, for building,
Strips.
especially for building stuff, it's like perfect. So if you haven't seen a settler's wrench, go check it out, because those are cool for bushcraft purposes, especially for building shelters.
Yeah.
And things like that.
And then it's useful to have a tarp. So no matter how thick you can build, pine bush or pine branches and stuff on top of your shelter, nothing's going to beat a tarp. Something that's just going to keep out. And that can be used for multiple things, collecting water. A lot of bushcrafting is about, using your natural resources, condensation, rain, water. You're going to want a tarp for that.
Yeah.
Helps with shelter, carry food in it, prepare food in it. There's all kinds of different uses. So those are kind of the basic things. Cordage, tarp, compass, ferro rod, saw, blade, hatchet. There you go. Write that down.
There's a lot of stuff when it comes to bushcrafting. I feel like if you want to be a good prepper, bushcrafting has to be a part of your plan.
Yep.
There's just no way around it.
No, I agree. I don't think you can necessarily separate the two.
No.
Fully.
A lot of people try to. There's
like
pure,
the hardcore bushcrafters, like you said.
for sure, yeah. And then there's the hardcore preppers. But I think if you want to be a good prepper, you need to have, even if you're an urban prepper, even if you're a guy living in the city, you should have those bushcraft skills.
Yeah.
Your
wilderness survival is going to rely on those skills.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
There's some freaking cool stuff too. I was just showing Kobe, and I think BattleBox might have something in there. It's like a little device that takes plastic bottles.
Oh, yeah.
And will just cut them
Makes
into
cordage.
like a teeny, it's like a half an inch or a quarter of an inch, basically cordage. So it's pretty cool. You can use junk. Pretty sure every camp you can find
Lots of
trash
junk.
that can be used.
Yeah.
You can fish with the pop cans and beer cans.
So that's kind of bushcrafting for preppers. There's so much. There's a lot to bushcrafting. This is just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
And
there's tons more gear, tons more skills.
there's so much. Yeah. I mean, we didn't really get into like
but it's
a lot
huge
of the
part of prepping. I really do think so.
the mechanics of doing a lot of this stuff, like the really in-depth stuff. This is just more of a discussion about bushcrafting for preppers and bushcrafters and all those types of things. So in the future, we'll probably do one with a little more in-depth on like how to do some of this stuff.
Yeah.
We just kind of wanted to, to introduce it to a lot of people who haven't really thought about it too much.
Right.
So that's kind of what this is for. So
Take it as you please.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, today's podcast is brought to you by Tac Pack, the only monthly tactical subscription box with useful professional grade stuff inside. Use code Casual Preppers and get a free separate bag sent of EDC gear along with your first month's Tac Pack. Head to tacpack.com, use our code Casual Preppers, and you're going to be a happy casual prepper.
The magicians of subscription boxes.
They do.
I don't know how they freaking get all the stuff in there for this.
It's crazy.
Cheap as they do.
Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah. So we got a pretty cool piece of gear.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think we posted several times about the usefulness of these jumper packs. To get your car going, and multiple uses. Obviously, it's a big, huge battery.
Yeah.
And so you can charge your cell phone off from it. You can charge your Game Boy, your Sega Genesis, maybe power it up. Dreamcast, yeah. Atari Lynx.
Yep.
Whatever you're charging, you can use this battery pack. So this one is from iMazing. iMazing is the brand, and this is a 1800 milliamp battery. And it's got the jumper cables with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we've ever really showed. Basically, I'm sure most of you have these. I mean, they make them like credit card size now that can jump your car. But this one, where you've got a big old battery storage, there's nothing.
Don't shock yourself.
Yeah. So, anyways, you just plug it in, and then you can just jump your car. But the nice thing is this one has a little display on it. Gives you codes if you get it hooked up wrong or you're not understanding, because it's hard to have all the paperwork for these things.
Yeah.
I also really like that it has on the jumper pack itself, it has the instructions, and the codes will come up and it'll tell you, if you've got it hooked up backwards or anything like that.
Nice.
And then on the pack itself, it's got the percentage of battery.
That's pretty cool.
And this sucker, it's got 2.1 amp output for USB, and then a regular 1 amp. And then it has a USB-C, which is pretty much everything now.
Yeah.
It's turned into UBS-C.
UBS.
That's my own type. USB-C. And that's also a charge port. So you don't always... That's the thing I really like about this is it's got a DC output. Actually, I don't think you can charge on the DC. You have to use the USB-C. But that's like way more common. I hate packing around, a freaking outlet charger.
Yeah.
You're going to have a cell phone charger, and almost all cell phones are USB-C now, and that's how this charges too. And you can also use that same port, the USB-C port, to charge your device. So anyways, super cool. Check them out. Big battery pack, charge your, jump start your vehicles, and power a fan or charge your phone, whatever you want.
Yeah, so they have a deal going on right now, and we'll try and put it in the link in the description of the podcast. I think you can get it for like $42.
So it's amazing, but with an eye.
Yeah, with an eye, and we'll try and put it. But I really like the case and things.
It
has like a hard like shell case that it comes in.
Yeah, it's a perfect thing to have in your car. At all
Yeah,
times.
it's pretty cool. So, anyways, you have to check that out.
Yeah.
It's time for the quick and dirty medical tip.
So this little tip's coming straight from the Prepper's Medical Handbook by William W. Forgy, one of our sponsors.
Yes.
I've talked before about oral fluid replacement therapy. So coming into the peak time is like late winter, early spring for like the stomach bugs.
Oh, yeah.
All of them start
All
to
of them,
pop up. And the biggest problem with all of those is obviously dehydration. So I just was going to read this chapter to you. No, I'm just kidding. There's a little cocktail in here that I thought was pretty useful. A table that shows 2 different cocktails that you can make, and then you just sip from both of them, like back and forth.
Oh,
You
interesting.
take a little sip from glass number 1, and then when you take another drink, you take it from 2. And that gives you like a perfect combination of...
One of them is Scotch, and the other one's Red Bull.
Right.
Is that how it works?
It is. That's it. It's right
it.
there.
Either,
Scotch bowl.
Scotch Bowl.
So glass number 1 is just orange, apple, and another fruit juice. So it's high in potassium. You do about 8 ounces of it, and you add a little bit of honey or corn syrup. So you squirt half a teaspoon into your 8 ounces of your fruit juice mixture. That's in glass 1. You'll be sipping from that one. The glucose or the honey kind of gives you the essential salts and sugars, and then you get your potassium and sugars from the
fruit juice.
juices. Glass number 2, just water, and then we've talked about putting baking soda in it because it's got the sodium bicarbonate. So that kind of gives you like a really good balance to replenish your fluids and keep you from moving into dehydration, all the complications that come with that. So 8 ounces of water and a quarter a teaspoon of baking soda, and then the other glass.
That's going to taste good.
Yeah, the other, that one's going to be gross. That's why you wash it.
You wash it down with
you
the
get
fruit
glass
juice.
number 1 chaser.
Yeah.
That's orange juice, apple juice, and some honey or corn syrup, half a teaspoon. Pretty
Nice.
simple. It's a
That's
lot
super
easier
simple.
than those other freaking concoctions that we've talked about.
Yeah.
So that's why this book is freaking sweet.
I love that,
Seriously,
man.
there's tons of quick, easy things. I mean, who's not going to have those things in their supply?
It's going to have, you're going to have that. That's awesome.
Anyway, there's your quick medical tip.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys listening. Thank you for being a subscriber. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, don't be a dummy. Just go hit it. Come see us on Instagram. Come see us on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and all those places because we're doing lots of different things at all of those different venues. Right, Cameron?
Yeah, trying to show off our gear.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right, guys. Thanks. Stay survived.